I hear a lot of people, I don't want to say complaining, but it's overwhelming to be an artist right now because you can't just sit down and do the work. You got to have social media presence, a podcast. You have to have all these things, and you have to curate videos, and there's a lot of time you have to put into these avenues.
I think the big difference between comics now and comics maybe when you guys broke in and stuff, there's a constant fight for attention. Back in the day when you had like Wizard magazine and message boards and all this stuff, it was very much people were searching for content. People wanted to seek out comics content. But in 2024, 2025, it's so... like your phone is just screaming at you. Comics, I feel like that attitude has been kind of grandfathered in through the generations of just like, we can just do message boards and do magazines and stuff like that. You need to play the game, man. If you want a slice of that, you need to play the game. You need to play these platforms at their own game.
This is the Inkpulp podcast.
Yeah.
You can jerk off if you want. Whatever you want to do. It's a free podcast. Most of the time I jerk off. You just can't see
just like
me,
right below camera.
Yeah. Just do it really slow, otherwise you'll see the vibrations. So just
it usually takes
really
Mattteo
slow with
it takes
baby
about
oil
45
and
minutes.
Stuff. Yeah.
When Mattteo says bye-bye, that's him coming.
Dude, I'm excited to witness a bye-bye in person for once.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited. That's why I agreed to do this podcast.
Don't get too excited, man. It's usually a bad experience for everyone. So
They don't appreciate greatness, Mattteo. That's it.
All right, everyone. Welcome
yeah, that's
to the
basically my greatest, the greatest thing that I do for the podcast is the bye-bye. It's
it's
the other
about
stuff. All the rest is shit, but
you look good. But you look
useless.
good, Mattteo, and that's all that matters.
Thank you, brother. You too.
Thank you.
And Jamie looks awesome,
young.
man. It's great to have you
appreciate that.
on the podcast, man.
Mattteo.
Yeah, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Inkpulp podcast. Today we have a very special guest. It's our editor extraordinaire, the man who's made this podcast kind of become the awesomeness it is, Jamie. All the way from Scotland.
Oh, there we go, Shawn. Right off the bat. I respect it.
Mattteo, he hates when I try to do a Scottish
I love it, Shawn.
accent.
I don't know what you're talking about. I love it. Big fan.
So before we start recording, Mattteo was telling us he has a Christmas ritual. So I want to hear about this.
Yeah, well, because just since this episode is probably gonna come out in late January, maybe or mid January,
I think mid, yeah.
But it's actually the actual date is December 27th.
Yes.
Today, so we're just recovering from the Christmas holidays. So yeah, I was telling you about the ritual. So it all starts for us on the 24th at 11 a.m.
Oh my God.
We go to, basically there's a friend of us who owns a bakery nearby.
Oh shit. I like
so
this.
we go to the back of the shop and everyone is invited. So their friends come over. It's basically a free house. Like whoever comes in, you bring a bottle of champagne or whatever. Mm-hmm. So we keep drinking and they keep making pastries and shit.
Oh my God.
We keep eating and drinking.
I'm coming to you for Christmas.
Yeah.
For sure.
For, I would say, well, whenever. It starts at like 10:30 a.m. So, and everyone's invited. So you go whenever you want. We usually go there by 11.
Okay.
And then by 1 we leave. So it's 2 hours of, drinking and
all right.
and eating. Then we have a really light lunch. Then around 5 p.m. we meet with a group of friends of mine. We go to a pub or a bar or wherever, and we drink. Then we have the Christmas Eve dinner at my parents. No, at my girlfriend's parents.
So what time
And
is dinner? How long are you at the bar for is what I'm trying to figure out.
I would say 2 to 3 hours. Then
Oh
we go
shit!
to
You
dinner.
guys are getting lit.
Yeah, around
And what's
8:30.
Aaliyah doing? Is he driving? Is he going crazy in the bar?
Yeah, it was with us. Like our friends, they have kids as well. So
Oh,
you know,
okay, okay.
you manage to keep the kids, and in the meantime, you talk and you drink and you eat.
Okay.
Then we go to dinner at around 8:30.
Okay.
Then the day after, there's the Christmas lunch at my
my
parents.
God. Oh my God.
And that starts at around noon and it ends at around 5 p.m.
So does Aaliyah open presents before lunch in the morning?
Yeah, we tell him that Santa comes to our place on the 24th. So we open the home presents on the 24th.
Okay.
And then on the 24th and the night, we open the other presents at the grandparents. And then the day after at lunch, we open the other
Italian
presents.
thing, or is this just a your thing?
No, it's just us. We like to give each other presents on the morning of the 24th.
Okay. Okay.
And then we tell him that Santa stopped by at the mother's grandparents on the 24th night. And then we open the ones on the other ones on the 25th.
Is that lunch. Nonna? Is Grandma Nonna? Is that
Nonna? Yeah,
Nonna. Okay.
Nonna and Nonno. And then after lunch, we go home for a few hours. Then we meet with our friends around dinner time, where we drink, and it's all night. We went to a disco this time.
What?
Yeah, we leave the kids at home with the grandparents.
Right. Oh my God!
Go wild. Dude, and then on the 26th, we go to Francesca's aunt, and there's a big lunch. And if you want to stay there, basically, you finish lunch and you sit down, you have some whiskey and stuff, you play cards, and then at 7 they bring the food back on the table, whatever is left over from the lunch, and keep eating. We usually avoid dinner. So
Christmas is 3 days, basically.
Yeah, basically 3 days of fucking.
Dude, Italians do everything better. They just do. So
every opportunity to eat and drink in there. Every opportunity taken. I respect it so much.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I'm sure there's coffee in the mix, but Matteo's not a coffee drinker, so he's leaving that part out.
No. Whenever it's coffee time, I substitute it with alcohol. So how about you guys? What do you usually do? What you did for this Christmas?
Jamie.
Not a lot, did. My little daughter's almost 3. She's 2.5, so it was all about just trying to make it special for her. So like on Christmas Eve, we did like Santa's footprints into the living room and stuff like that. And
wait. So what did you make the footprints out of?
Salt.
Oh, that's cool.
You can buy like fake snow and stuff, but we did like salt and just like put the footprints in and stuff. And it's just trying to get her to still understand the whole Christmas thing.
That's
and,
amazing.
Make it special for her and stuff like that. So we just did that, and then we opened presents, and then we went to my girlfriend's mum's house, opened some more presents there, and then I went to my auntie's house for dinner. We always got my auntie's house for Christmas dinner, and that was it.
What about Christmas Eve?
And this is just the 25th.
Yeah, that was just the 25th. Yeah.
Okay.
Christmas Eve is just, we let her open some toys on Christmas Eve. We let her open the stuff from my mum on Christmas Eve. So she got like a little scooter and stuff. So it was like teaching her to use the scooter in the living room and stuff like that. And that was really it. Nothing big, nothing special, just kind of intimate family stuff.
Nice.
Gotcha.
What about you, Shawn?
How about you, Shawnee boy?
Well, as you know, Matteo, I'm a dirty Jew. So no Christmas over here. But this year, actually, the first night of Hanukkah fell on Christmas Day. So when that happens, we actually get a holiday. Because typically, like let's say Hanukkah is 2 weeks before Christmas on a Wednesday. Everyone's working. It's like, we put in a full day of work. Then we come home. We kind of like, it's like a lot of pressure to get the dinner made and do it all, go to bed, and you have to wake up and go to work the next day. So this year it was nice to just sit around the house. What we normally do on Christmas, what the Jewish thing traditionally do on Christmas is to go out for Chinese food at a Chinese restaurant.
Wait, that's like a Jewish tradition, is to go for
Well,
Chinese
it's
food?
an American Jewish thing. I
Right.
mean, it's become a tradition, but now it's all changed. So now everyone goes out for Chinese food. It's insane. When I was a kid, you'd go out for Chinese food, it'd be empty, and you'd go to the movie theater and it'd be empty. Now it's like everyone goes, not just Jewish people. And I'm just like, I would, don't you all want to just be home with your family? But no. But
Fucking
this year,
non-Jewish people.
I know,
hate
man.
them.
That's what I was thinking, Mattteo.
the worst.
Yeah.
And Jews are bad enough. But so this year we did Chinese food on Christmas Eve, and then on Christmas. So one of the Hanukkah things you make are called potato latkes, and they're potato pancakes, and I make them from scratch. And my family waits all year for these things, so I spent the majority of the day making these because they take a long time, but they're delicious and they're worth it. But we were all in the kitchen. We had the new Redman album was out, so I had that playing. She's back doing pottery, so she was in the kitchen on her pottery wheel making stuff. The kids were helping me cook.
Is
We
that
all
another
were
Jewish tradition, like listening to rap music on Christmas?
It's very, very traditional. Yeah. If you go back
All the
to
rabbis.
if you go,
That's what they love.
Moses was bumping the fuck out of some hip hop back in the day. But yeah, we were drinking, and we all had edibles, so it was a chill day. And I probably finished up the potato pancakes by like 2, and then I quickly cleaned my grill, and then I went upstairs. I had to study for a little bit. I took a test yesterday for my tattooing license. Like, you got to take a state board.
Okay, gotcha.
And I passed.
Awesome, man! Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. And then I sat down for about an hour, and then I went downstairs, fired up the grill, threw some steaks on, heated up the potato pancakes, and we all had some wine and a nice dinner. And then the 26th, I went and took my test.
So what's pardon my ignorance, but what does Hanukkah represent?
Okay, so there's a story of this. There's a temple, and this family called the Maccabees. They were under attack from, I think, the Philistines, and they were holed up in this temple. The walls of the temple were protecting them. They had, I think, they had no food. They had no light or anything. So the myth is there was enough oil to keep the lanterns burning for one day, but the miracle of Hanukkah is it lasted for 8 days. So everything in Hanukkah is oil. So everything's fried. So you eat the potato pancakes, which are fried. I mean, we've been doing mainly like red meat and stuff, but it's traditional to have like a fried, like fried chicken cutlet, and then dessert is donuts, which are fried. So everything's about the oil.
That sounds like we've been celebrating Hanukkah in Scotland since I was born. Just fried food every day.
But in the Jewish religion, Hanukkah is like a nothing holiday. It's one of the really minor ones. But because Christmas is such a big like deal, that, you know, I guess to make the Jewish kids not feel so left out, they turned Hanukkah into more of a gift giving. Yeah, like on Hanukkah traditionally. And you'll love this, Mattteo. You know what the traditional gift is on Hanukkah?
Nope.
Give you one guess. It's a Jewish holiday.
Big bagel.
No.
For the last.
An 8-day bagel. No, money. Come on.
Oh, money.
You disappointed me. So another thing you do on Hanukkah is they have these chocolate coins. So you eat the fuck out of chocolate coins. So I bought so many chocolate coins and just put a giant bowl in the living room. So all day long we're just shoving these things in our mouth. So yeah, that's what Hanukkah traditionally is. But you know what's cool is my kids are older now, and in their early adulthood, Steph and I got gifts. We were blown away. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
It was awesome.
What did you get?
So Zoe got me. I'll show you. Zoe got me
Nice
this
pillow.
for my studio to either meditate on or keep on my art chair. Wait till you see what Zach got me. DMX doll, baby.
Oh shit!
Which was awesome. I was hype on that. And then Steph got me this silver necklace. It's a bunch of skulls like linked together.
That's cool.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How about you, Jamie? Are you still in that phase when you're the dad, so you don't get nothing?
Kinda, yeah. We made me and my girlfriend made a deal not to buy each other anything, and then at the last minute we just kind of switched up. So she got me. I don't know if you can see it. See the Mike Mignola quarantine sketchbook up there.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
She got me that. She got me that for Christmas, and I got like her a voucher for clothes and stuff. Nothing special, but
like a gift card.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. She knew to get you a Mignola book. That's awesome.
There may have been a few hints, Shawn, but hey.
So what's everyone planning for New Year's? You doing anything?
We'll have a
Nothing planned.
big dinner with friends.
At your house?
We usually sometimes we do. I think that this year we'll do it at some other friend's house because they have older kids and they get bored. So we go there because they have the fucking PlayStation and all that shit. So they can play.
I gotcha.
Basically.
I gotcha. What about you, Jamie? You got a little one, so you're probably not doing much.
Yeah, nothing on the night, like nothing at 12 a.m. or 12 a.m. Nothing then, but the next day, yeah, we go for like a big family dinner at my aunt's house again.
You don't do dinner on New Year's Eve?
No, do you guys do that?
Yeah,
that's when we celebrate. Yeah, it's like you have a dinner, and I mean, I don't make it to midnight anymore, but yeah, you'd have a dinner and then you'd party all night. That's what you.
No, in Scotland, people do the partying. Like people do like the midnight out for the bells type thing. But yeah, it's usually the next day. We have like the big family dinner and stuff, not on New Year's Eve.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So it's a family thing. You know, for us, Christmas is family, and the New Year's Eve is friends. Usually, that's what we do.
There's a lot of like weird old traditions in Scotland for like New Year's and stuff. Like I remember, like when I grew up, I lived with like my gran and my granddad. That's who I lived with. And I remember like every night at midnight on New Year's Eve, my granddad would go and open the front door to let the new year in, and open the back door to let the old year out, and shit like that, and just all these wee kind of things.
That's some
weird shit. Complaining, Grandpa, it's fucking cold in here. Close that fucking door. Freezing.
Hoping I make it to next year.
You're letting in the new year and the flu.
No, our big tradition is we get drunk and we get to a big orgy amongst friends.
Oh, everything in Italy is better.
Yeah,
everything.
But the important thing is that for New Year, you gotta be the females with the females and the man with the man. So you're just gonna get either fucked in the ass or suck cock.
Is that why you're flying Shawn out this year?
No, he needed a break this year, so it's still hurting from
my ass is still recovering from last year's.
That's why he said that he doesn't make it to midnight anymore.
That's why Zoe got me a pillow. Oh, dude. All right, so we're foul people.
But this year it's been weird because the holidays they fell in weird days. So it's been weird. Like my week started and I worked like for a day, and then it was already the 24th, so I couldn't work. And then I got back to work today, and I'm gonna work today, but tomorrow's already Saturday, so
right. And
then I'm gonna work on Monday again. But then
it's New Year's,
New Year's. So it's fucking.
Oh man,
I don't know.
I worked on Christmas Eve. I only took off Christmas Day, and then I was back to work yesterday. Today I'll work tomorrow. I'll work Sunday, Monday I'll work. Tuesday I'll work for a half a day, and then I'll be back on Thursday.
Are you working during weekends, Jamie?
Yeah, I'm pretty much working every day. at this point.
Fuck,
Me
man.
too.
Yeah, man. It's
Any
weird
plans
adjusting.
on taking a vacation or something?
Not at the moment, Mateo. Not at the moment, man. I was even doing some like light stuff on Christmas Day. Not a lot, but like a little bit just to keep things ticking over, man. But it's a weird transition going from like a corporate environment where it's like 9 to 5 and all that shit
This
to just figure it out.
This is the
you know what I mean?
side of working for yourself a lot of people don't really think about. And Matteo's in a position where, I mean, Matteo you used to work 7 days a week, but
yeah.
you've gotten to a point where you don't need to anymore, so you can take your weekends off. But
I might need to go back to that this year. Maybe not Saturdays and Sundays, but maybe some Saturdays I might have to work.
Okay, because of all the projects,
for a few months at
going
least. Like, until I get rid of the Batman story.
Okay.
After that, everything's gonna calm down a little bit.
Smooth sailing.
Have you started on the Batman story yet? Still nothing?
No, I haven't received the script yet. So the plan is that basically starting from January 2nd, I'll immediately start working on the other book that I have scheduled, which I didn't really need to. I had another 2 or 3 weeks before I had to start working on it, but I wanna start, how do you say, basically accumulating some advantage with the schedule,
being prepared.
So whenever the new script comes up, I have some extra days to play around with.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How long do you think that's going to take you? Like the Batman book? How long does that take you? Like a normal issue of a book? What's the timescale?
It's 24 pages, so I would say probably 4 to 5 weeks, probably.
Okay.
But it depends. I'll probably have to work on that and the other book at the same time. So there's gonna be weeks in which I'll probably be able to do 3 pages, sometimes only 2. So it's, the good thing is that I have a lot of time before I have to deliver that issue. So I'll have a few months. So my hope is that I'm able to manage timing properly. We'll see.
Is that a hard thing? Like, see, when you're working on like 2 projects like that as an artist for both of you guys, if you're working on 2 things at the same time, see to like switch the mental back and forth between those projects.
Yeah,
I'm more of a like focus on a book, then finish it, and then jump on a new project guy.
Yeah.
But this time I can't, I can't make it, so I have to deal with it, and that's it, and see what happens. I'll probably try and have like at least a week whenever I can, a week dedicated to one project, and then the very next week dedicated to the other one, at least to have that the weekend in between that will hopefully allow me to clean up my mind before jumping in on the next thing.
That makes sense.
We'll
then
see.
you lie back on that big pile of money and it's not so bad.
Well, yeah, this is gonna be the year when the money will start flow again, because it's over the past 2 years have been a little not rough at all, but basically I made half of the money that I usually make.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it went surprisingly well on the original art and shows side.
Mm-hmm.
I was taking a look at this year's income in general, and basically 90% or maybe 80%, 85% of the money I made through essential sequential, basically.
Matteo, do you keep like spreadsheets of the money you make so you can keep track of where everything's coming from, or do you just look at your bank and see where it was coming from?
No, but at the end of the year, I have to, for my tax statement, I had to, grab my bank account,
right.
Basically resume, like, I don't know what to call it, but basically
Statement.
Yeah, the statement, and see, payment by payment.
Right.
And I had to verify that I have specific documents for each payment. So at the end of the year, I have this list in front of me, so I can really see where the money came from. And I had to analyze that with Jason because of some payments that I had to receive from Essential Sequential. So I already saw how much money I made through Essential
got it.
Sequential. It was a very, very, very consistent part of it this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you guys feel
That's
like
a
the podcast and stuff's helped with that? Like, do you feel like
Maybe.
how often you're
No.
exposed to people that they might
Yeah,
want to
it's
pick up more
helped.
of that?
I feel like the podcast has helped in a lot of ways. I don't know that I can directly say it's raised awareness about us. It has more people interested in what I can't speak for Mattteo, but what I'm doing. They're more engaged. I think it helps more when you put out like an art book or a comic comes out, because those are more lower price point things. And but when we have a sale, like Mattteo did that, we did that commercial, and that really bumped sales on the holiday sale, so that helped.
I don't
What do
know.
you
Right
think?
now, I'm not asking myself that yet. Like, I still consider Inkpulp as I mean, I enjoy doing it, but also as an investment for the future. Like, I
Yes,
see
agreed.
the potential behind it.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
right now, I'm not even trying to analyze any kind of data yet.
Yeah, I'm the same with Mattteo. But what
yeah.
I saw, like when Jim did his Kickstarter, we got to see like, okay, this is what the Inkpulp audience came and represented for, because his Kickstarter did so well. So if Mattteo kickstarts his book, or when my Kickstarter goes live in March, I think that's when we'll see like that. Like I think my Kickstarter will do better because of the Inkpulp stuff. But like Mattteo said, I look at everything as like we're still in the infancy right now. Like, last year we had like 3,000 subscribers. Now we're at like 6,500. So, I want to get us up like to 20 at least and grow.
I was really interested in this. That's a question that I wanted to ask you, Jamie. So, since you know so much about podcasting,
yes, that's why
what
he's
do you
here.
think? What?
That's why we did want to talk about this. That was like a big part of the show. So go
what
for
do
it.
you think? Because we see, I listen to podcasts basically every day, and some of the podcasts I listen to, they have like 1 million, 2 million followers, like the subscriptions and stuff like that. So when does a podcast become a serious source of income for a podcaster, do you think?
I think
do you have some numbers in your head?
I wouldn't really go as far as to give numbers, but I would say it's more in relation to how you want to monetize it. Mm-hmm. So like you can go the route of looking for advertisers to have like ads in the middle of your podcast and all that stuff. And that's one that, especially when I was working in like a corporate podcast studio, we struggled with that. Not struggled with it, but it's just a much, it's really your luck. It's really, when you get to like the level of a Joe Rogan or a Theo Vaughn or these guys, you're going to get advertisers regardless. But when you're a smaller podcast, you have to kind of bet on the advertisers that you're finding, that they resonate with the podcast, that they like you as people, that they're willing to invest to become part of what you're going to become, type of thing. But then there's also like in relation to what you were saying, Shawn, about Jim's Kickstarter and stuff. If for example, if you guys made a Patreon and marketed it as hard as Jim was marketing that Kickstarter and all that stuff, then you're monetizing the audience in a more direct way, in a way that they feel they're getting something for it as well. It's not just an advertising. It's not as forced as an advert can feel in a podcast. Yeah. So that to me is the way that you want to monetize a podcast, and especially it feels more transactional. It's like we're giving you something in return for getting something, rather than just here's 10 minutes of ads for something that you don't want to buy. Do you know what I mean?
Right. That's true.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then that's why I want to have this meeting I've been trying to coordinate everyone for. So after the show, I want to see if the January 3rd works for everyone. But I want to talk about that, like things we can do to encourage growth and income.
So basically what you described is it's a kind of indirect way of monetize through podcasting. And about the direct way, sorry if I want to go back there, I'm just really, really curious. I'm not just
I want to talk about this.
I don't even know if we'll ever get there, but how much does when you have a brand that wanna have an advertisement on your podcast, what's I mean, I bet that depending how many views and subscribers you add, you have different rates, of course.
Yeah.
But what's an average rate that a brand can spend on another advertising on a podcast, do you think?
Yeah, so my experience, to be fair, my experience is pretty limited in terms of the podcasts that I worked on were Scottish podcasts, which is obviously not as lucrative as an American podcast can be, just to scale. You know what I mean? So when I was working with and another thing that impacts it, I'll tell you guys stuff that I'll bleep in the episode.
Okay, yeah.
When we were doing it, we had certain celebrities like Paul Craig, like Mattteo, that I was talking to you about that. And we had another guy, Grado, who's like a big celebrity here in Scotland. He's like the face of Scottish TV and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So those guys, even though the podcasts weren't pulling exceptional numbers, they would maybe get like 3K, 4K an episode, sometimes less, but that was like a kind of a good episode was getting those numbers. Those guys would be getting around a month for a podcast on everything.
From advertising?
Yeah, for running an ad on every podcast. And also, there's a lot of extra stuff that goes with that. So, like, those guys would do, we'll make a reel for your socials, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll promote it on our socials. A lot of extra stuff, you know what I mean? I was trying to think of a better word, but stuff that's not just on the podcast. But then the reason I told you who it was that was on it, because a lot of that, the spending power comes from the names. Do you know what I mean? So you guys would be able to get some good advertisers based on your names and the platform that you guys have built as artists, but also as Inkpulp now, as that comes up. So it can be related to views, but it's also related to like who's on the podcast. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That's interesting. Yeah. Sometimes I wonder, like, should we try and fish, like, and ask to some brands, like, I don't know, we all use
Strathmore,
Raphael brushes, or Strathmore paper.
Yeah. Sometimes I was thinking about this. Yeah, I wonder about that too. The thing is, like, if you think of a show like Joe Rogan, like, what's the brand? Like, well, a lot of it is Men's Health. That's a huge market with a lot of competition. If we're talking comic art, we're talking Strathmore paper. They're not going to have the big dollars to put behind an advertising force, but there might be something there.
There's definitely stuff, like, if you were to reach out to, like, I know there's a lot of, the one that comes to mind off the top of my head is like that Global Comics. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's like a digital comics reader. It's like a new platform. Well, it's new to me. I hadn't seen it before. But there's like these kind of platforms that are trying to be bigger brands that whose would be the ideal vehicle for. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you could think very straight down the middle about like what tools, the paper, this kind of stuff.
Right.
But when you go more extensive to be like brands that are just comics adjacent or want to tap into that market, then it's a more lucrative thing. Yeah,
and we could reach out to Marvel Studios and they could advertise their next movie on our podcast.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We could have Robert Downey Jr. here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's dying to get on the show. I get an email from him every day.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah. It's a whole word. Like right now, I'm so focused on other stuff but sometimes when I stop and think about it, I'm like, be something to think about for the future.
I think go
ahead.
I'm thinking once we get to like 10,000 viewers, like subscribers, I think then we really need to be aggressive and start like getting some shit going. I think right now I want like by the end of 2025, maybe we can hit 10,000. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think easy.
Okay, so to all the listeners, you heard it. So now the goal is to tell your friends.
Yes.
Doesn't matter who, even your grandma. Just subscribe your grandma to our channel.
Yeah, get grandma to subscribe.
Tell her that if she does, she's going to Matteo's big New Year orgy, and she'll have something like that.
But Jamie, the big thing I want to talk about is, I hear a lot of people like I don't want to say complaining, but it's overwhelming. Like one side of the coin is to be an artist right now. It's overwhelming because you can't just sit down and do the work. You got to have social media presence, a podcast. You have to have all these things, and you have to curate videos, and there's a lot of time you have to put into these avenues. The other side of the coin is, well, now we have all these avenues, so we can really pursue a life of creating our own things, our own books, our own art, our own podcasts, and we can build a business unto ourselves like we could never do before. So whenever I see like people like posting the memes, like it's exhausting doing all these things, I'm like, I agree, but it's also like, but now we can do those things, and
it's
we
an
can
opportunity.
build a different. Yeah, exactly. So it's overwhelming. So to artists coming in, I wanted to talk to you about like what should people be doing. I mean, you know how to use social media well. Like that in and of itself is a business, understanding social media. It's not just here's my art and post it.
Yeah.
Like now there's so much that goes into it. I mean, I talked to you about it. I talked my daughter, because she's of that age where social media, they grew up with it. Like they have their own language. Like she's like, you need to make some ASMR videos, Dad, of like just like your nib scratching on paper. And I'm like, well, what is that going to do? But then she showed, like, but like a drawing, but it's like the microphone's right up on the nib, and it's just for like 5 seconds, and they can see the whole drawing. And these videos
they
go
can jerk
viral.
off to it. Yeah,
that's the whole point. But so what advice? Because this is your career. This is your what you do. You understand social media. You understand podcasting. So what would you tell a young artist coming in? Like, hey, I need to have social media. What should I be doing? And should I have a podcast?
Yeah. Like I was talking to, do you remember Callum Gillespie, the artist who did the fruit book that we showed on the live? I was talking to him. I was talking to him a lot about this recently, because he started doing a live stream and stuff like that, and we were talking about it. And I feel like live streaming, especially, is a good way to create that.
Yeah, it's another one.
Bond. Bond with your audience, and that is what it is. Like I think the big difference between comics now and comics maybe when you guys broke in and stuff, like with all this social media stuff, is there's a constant fight for attention nowadays. Like back in the day when you had like Wizard magazine and message boards and all this stuff, it was very much people were searching for content. People wanted to seek out comics content and stuff like that. But in 2024, 2025, it's so like your phone is just screaming at you every minute of every day. There's content, there's something to look at, there's news stories, there's Twitter, there's all this stuff to scroll that's just screaming at you. And it's like comics, I feel like that attitude has been kind of grandfathered in through the generations of just like, we can just do message boards and like this stuff and do magazines and stuff like that. And it's cool. I'm no decrying that at all. I think it's like a very cool thing, but it's also like, you need to play the game, man. If you want a slice of that, you need to play the game. You need to play these platforms at their own game. You need to, and what Zoe was telling you about doing ASMR videos, all that stuff is like so key to getting any of that attention. Like you can't, I don't want to say there's like a general consensus, but I would feel that like artists and writers and people who are in comics want to maintain a sense of their art and their content that they're producing, and they want to maintain a sense of like, this represents the quality of me as an artist, as a creator, as whatever. But it's also like you need to sacrifice a little bit of that to play the clickbait game, to play the ADHD trap videos and stuff like that. Like, I don't know how much time you guys spend on TikTok or that kind of stuff, but if you look on there, like the videos that people watch these days, it's like you'll see like a clip of a podcast, and then that's cut in half, and then there's video game footage under it, and then there's subtitles, and there's just, you're watching 3 things at once to keep your mind trapped. And then if you scroll from that to a video of somebody just going, here's my comic, it's like it's not capturing people the same way.
Right.
So you need to be willing to play those games, and it is a job to like stay on top of that. Like you need to have one foot in these platforms to keep up to date, because it changes like that. Like the memes change, the formats change, all this stuff changes so rapidly.
I think it opens up an avenue, an opportunity for someone like you, Jamie, where like maybe the artist doesn't need to take all the time to understand and keep up with every trend, as long as they can hire someone who does that and either consults them or does like you and I are doing the social media videos for them.
Yeah.
I think like that's going to be a needed position. So like instead of losing time as an artist, you're now just going to be spending money to keep your brand growing in that way. It's like a marketing
A market expense. Yeah, yeah. I can see that, definitely. And I feel like it will open... Sorry, on you go, Shawn.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I feel like it will open up a lot of opportunities for people in similar positions to me. Like, that was kind of always my game. Like, when I was, because I went to college and then university to study film and television broadcasting and stuff, and that was where I learned to edit. But the dream for me was always comics. Like, that was always, like, the North Star. Like, I want to be in comics. And I knew I couldn't write, and I knew I couldn't draw, and I knew I could edit, and I was like, I'll find a way, you know what I mean? Like, I'll find a way to
and you did.
Exactly. And that was kind of my way of into that. But I feel like there will be coming up a need for a lot more people to do stuff like that.
I agree. And that's why like Mattteo, I hired Jamie to do one social media reel a week where I'll gonna consult with him and Zoe, and on Sundays film the footage, send him the write-up, send him the hashtags, and he will put it in a format that the social media audience will eat in higher doses than what I would normally post. So like yesterday was our first post we did, and the video performed, I'm not going to say like exponentially better, but it performed like one of my high performing videos. So, and that was just the first one. So the more we learn, it'll get better. And as I make more money, I want to eventually just have Jamie handle my social media one day. But I
that
think
sounds great. That's one of the things that I constantly think about, like having someone, because I know, like I can see how you can make our thing attractive too. As Jamie was saying, like we have a way of doing it, which is a little old and out of date sometimes, you know, but myself included. That's I keep using Instagram as I used to use it years ago.
Yeah, you do,
which is not the way anymore. And I realized that it's just me. This is the way I'm wired.
But I do have to say that when you post, they perform very well still. I don't think your growth is what it was, but your your
it's not even compared
to
what it used to be. Like I remember years ago when I knew I had an image that was gonna do good. That was like 12. I mean, I'm grossed out by what I'm saying now because it looks like I'm counting likes. But I have something that I posted years and years ago. Probably I had like 30,000 followers, and it has more than 17,000 likes. You know, now to get to 17,000, I haven't gotten more than 15,000 in like years now.
Okay, yeah,
because that's not the way, and I realized that, and I know it's really fascinating to hear you guys talk about this, because it's something that I keep thinking about, especially I see myself and what I sometimes stop to watch. I'm not I'm usually not a social media guy. I don't spend time on social media, but when I do, like one thing that I love, for example, is, and they're really successful, you know, the people that made handwritten like stuff for shops,
calligraphy,
like the scripts,
hand painting, sign painting and pinstriping,
for shops, for tattoo shops or whatever.
We have a guy doing our shop.
It's so fascinating to see the craft and like the brushwork. They do this fucking amazing brushwork with this long brushes and all that stuff,
those lettering
and
brushes,
I get attracted to it, like, and I can see like it's actually like the job itself, aside from the that moment, it's kind of easy, because we're talking about kind of easy, and I don't want to sound disrespectful, but
simple. I'd say simple.
It's simple.
I wouldn't say easy, but
easy was the wrong word. But But yeah, I'm like hypnotized, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I'm wondering what people would do. See me working on just a panel, for example.
They go
you know?
nuts. Yeah. So when I do a reel and it's just me pulling brush lines, like what you're talking about, but with our brushes on Bristol board, and it's just like a really long straight line, those videos do so well, and I get tons of comments, and that's actually what got me thinking about the slogan "Keep Craft Alive," because it was like people love watching this craft, like just a brush being, and like back to the ASMR thing, like a nib scratching, and then the next clip is just a brush silently dragging, like all these things. I think that people want to watch them. I watch calligraphy artists and like hand nib lettering, like that stuff is mind blowing. It's beautiful.
Absolutely.
It's a
It's
wild
something
landscape.
that, again, that I think about. The thing that scares me right now,
like Mattteo, you're tapping when you do your splatters, like just videos of that with the noise and everything would go nuts.
Yeah. But I've been thinking about it. The thing that scares me, for example, is having to, okay, let's record. Just the fact that I'm working, and then I'm like, okay, let's record something.
Yes.
That moment alone already fucks with my head. I'm like,
dude, if you can see on my art table on the far end, there's a little black, like looks like a dildo sitting on my table. That's the thing that holds my phone.
It's actually a dildo. That's what I use.
I put it on my chair when I'm working. So, but no, that holds my phone. So whenever I'm working, my phone is just right there, and I set it up on video and I just work. And when I feel like I want to record something, I just tap it. It's not good. I don't like doing it because you're right. It disrupts the creative process. It disrupts the flow. But it's part of the job now.
And the phone is enough in terms of quality?
Yeah, but I am going to, for the videos I'm doing with Jamie, I'm going to stop using my phone. I'm going to start using a camera. But yeah, the phone, dude, it's not even about the quality sometimes. Sometimes it's just about the content. Like
100%.
There's plenty of really shitty videos. They're not even edited well, but they speak that language that social media kids love, and it's all they need. The sound is shit. So we've got the equipment. But yeah, I would just start with your phone.
That's one thing that I would say actually is like in the TikTok generation of content, it's went the other way. Like lo-fi content is what people want, because I feel like people are so bummed out on like corporate big budget advertising, and marketing.
Too curated stuff.
Yeah,
which
that's a good
looks
point.
fake. Yeah.
So if you go and look at big brands on social media, most of them are using like a guy who is the face of the brand to try and make it feel that bit more personal, to try and break that barrier and try and relate to the people that are watching the content.
So Jamie, should I, because I've been keeping an eye on, I'm kind of interested in these. They sell these like lo-fi cameras now. They're like webcams, but they look like remember Polaroids back in the day, Mattteo?
Yeah.
They film that quality. It's grainy, it's scratchy, it's shitty, but attractive. Should I be using a cat? Because they're like $20. Should I get one of those? This
is I'm kind of counterintuitive to what I just said, but that idea of putting like a lo-fi filter on it. Now I love that, right? I think that content looks sick, and when I see cinematic content that's shot on film or made to look like it's on film, as an editor, as somebody that loves film, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
But for a mass audience, people, it's a thing of trying too hard. Like if people think you're trying too hard, that puts them off. Like people want everything to feel like, I just had this idea and I whipped out my phone and now I'm filming it. Like people want to feel like they're right there with you in the moment. So when I say lo-fi, I don't even mean visual quality as much as I mean the production. They want to feel like it is just you and your phone and just do you know what I mean?
They don't want to feel it's produced.
Yeah.
Like the new Snoop and Dre album, produced to all hell.
True.
Because what I want to do, Jamie, is I want to use a good camera to make the social media reels. I mean, my hope is I can get really tight in on the tip of the brush when it makes a line, so you can really see it like up tight and close. You can see the grain of the paper and all that stuff. That's what I was thinking about doing.
We can talk about like macro lenses and stuff for you. We'll talk about that stuff.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, because I do. I want to talk about all that.
Yeah, by talking about this, you just reminded me of the Super Rani, basically the company at Kim Jong-gi and all those guys.
Yeah.
And to see them, I don't know if you ever seen them at shows, Jamie, but basically every artist has a full like setup with a rack with cameras mounted everywhere. Mm-hmm. Basically, they film the work on every angle, and every single work is filmed. Basically, everything they do is filmed. It's impressive.
Like, and that's what I mean. Like, so those artists, like, they're not doing jobs. Their job is to make their own art and film it and use social media and podcasting to put it out there to generate book sales and art sales and all this stuff. That's what I mean. Like, that opportunity is new. That's a new thing that we can explore.
I feel like more than anything, more than saying like use this camera or edit this way or anything like that, it's a mindset thing of utilizing these tools in a way that comics traditionally hasn't had to, and still feels. Sometimes I get the sense when I look at like the bigger publishers or bigger artists, writers, whatever, and you look at their social media and there's a sense of like, I don't want to say entitlement, but expectancy.
Yes.
That no matter like, what, people will come.
I know exactly what you mean. When I scroll through and I see like a big name artist, just like, here's like Mattteo, here's my work.
Here's a picture. Run
here's
it up to 17K. Run it up.
It's like the king throwing a penny out to the peasants below. Here you go.
but like you were saying about like filming at shows and stuff, like if you were in that mindset of like utilizing social media at every turn, like it might sound like a lot of effort to say this, but like if you guys were sitting sketching at a con, right, and you set up a live stream on that, on say like Whatnot or a platform like that or any kind of live stream
Mattteo and I
platform.
have done it on Whatnot. We've done it from New York Comic Con. Yeah,
to do that, and then to have like even the books that you're there selling in the store and the buy it now, and it's just basically an extension of the con, things like that. Do you know
that's
what I mean?
Exactly what we did. Yeah, Jason.
Yeah, we didn't do it this year in New York because we had bad service at the show.
That's the problem.
So they did it in a hotel room or something.
Yeah.
Somebody did it in a hotel room.
Yeah, Sam did it in the hotel room, but it was after the con, and we're like, we're done working. We're going to dinner. Like,
but we made money when we did it 2 years ago.
We did.
We made money out of.
I think we both pulled in like 1,000
working.
Yeah, we did about an hour, and we both pulled in like 1,600 to $1,000. Yeah.
Now imagine if you did that all day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if because it might sound like a lot of effort, but like even if you weren't engaging with the stream as much, because it's not like you're talking to every person at a con. Like you might talk to the people who come up who want a sketch or who are buying something, but you're not talking to every person walking by. And it's the same thing. Like it doesn't need to be this investment of effort and time, and it can be if you want it to be. But like even just letting people into that world a wee bit more and just opening it up through that avenue, like that kind of stuff.
No, absolutely.
You know, I always think back to what Francis Manabal told us when he was on Mattteo. It all comes back to storytelling. So like you're telling, like if you're at a con, you're just telling the story of being an artist at that con. And the more you can tell that story, the more engaged people will be. But this brings up, so I was just listening to, so there's a really popular tattoo artist named Joe Capobianco. And he became really popular in the 90s for doing like really cartoony cheesecake pinup style girls. And he's very good. And he just started doing a podcast, and he had this round table where a bunch of the old tattoo guys were like complaining about this social media thing and content. I hate content and I hate that word. And they were just grumpy. And one guy was like, well, you know, they're like, well, I spent all this time and nobody watches it. And this one guy spoke up. He's like, well, think about this. You're watching TV. Commercials come on. If they're not entertaining you, you're annoyed. But the minute a commercial comes on that entertains you, you're engaged, and now you're wanting to get involved with whatever product that was. He's like, you got to think about your social media posts the same way. Like, if you're just posting shit and you're not thinking about how can I make this more entertaining, and as an artist, if you're not being creative in the presentation of that social media video, you're missing the opportunity. You're just going through the motions, and it's never going to get the engagement you want. And so when that guy was speaking up, I remember my mind shifting to that, like right before COVID, because before COVID, I was like, oh, I'm sick of posting. I hate this content word. And then once I started to look at it differently, I was like, oh, there's an opportunity here. And so I think being creative and entertaining is the key. Like, don't make it a job that you hate doing. Make it something fun. And that's what, with our commercials, Mattteo, that's what we do. We're just like, let's just hop on the camera and we'll figure something wacky out, and we just have fun. And I think that is why people respond to it and watch the shows that we do and buy the books and all that jazz.
Yeah, absolutely. This whole thing raises questions in my head, like, and this is just for the sake of, discussing about the stuff. I don't have an opinion. I'm just trying to analyze as we talk about stuff.
Yeah.
Like, there's one thing that it's if you keep doing, I was thinking, for example, of the whatnot thing. It's really interesting what you can do. I wonder if it becomes a habit, like a thing that you always do. It could go either way. You become popular for that, and you become more and more famous, or there's too much of your stuff on the market, and then what you're doing loses value. But then I think
that's true.
It depends on how entertaining and how much quality you put into that stuff.
Right. I think it's still like, I think everything still has to be about the work you're doing. Because the problem is, there are people, and we know some of these people, they have a career in art, and it's based on their their social media performance and personality, when the work itself is mediocre, but they excel because of their social media aspect. And that's where I think it's kind of like, that's where it's crossed the line for me, where it's like, if the work isn't backing up, like, I think of the social media as just the marketing.
Yep.
So if you're marketing a mediocre product, but marketing it well, sure, you're going to sell, but it's still not a great product. So I still think it has to be about the art being great.
Yeah.
And then using these marketing tools to get stuff out there.
Yeah. The other thing for me, it will also be like, okay, I decide to go this way, but I have my other thing, which is the actual work of doing comics. That luckily, like, I'm able to do it properly, and I have still people asking me to do it.
Right.
So, it's hard for me, for the position I'm in, to decide, because to me, doing both, it's kind of, they steal time from each other, basically. So I'd rather do one of them seriously instead of doing both about half and half, So, again, I'm not criticizing. Again, it's just
I get it.
Come to my head,
but I feel it too. I do feel like, I feel like my art is consistently improving, but I think it's improving at a slower rate because of the time I am putting into everything else. So if I didn't have any of the social media, my art might be better now, but also would I be able to survive off of it is the other question. So it's a tightrope walk, man. It's a lot, but that's where I think, like, having someone like Jamie, that you can be like, all right, I'm going to focus on my art, but I'll record a few things, and Jamie can make the reel and post it on my accounts. And that means I get some time back to put back into my art. I think is good. And I think we're going to start seeing more and more of that from artists. Like, I think the problem right now is, especially like our age and up, is the like, there's just too many people unwilling to embrace the avenues of podcasting and social media to aid them. And but I think the younger generation's gonna like say, "Oh yeah, I know what social media is. I know what it's all about. I know what's important. I want to focus on my art." But this guy really knows how to work that stuff, so I'm gonna hire him or her to
Mm-hmm.
do it.
Shawn, do you feel like, see what you were talking about like losing some time to progress your art to like the social media stuff? Do you feel like that was like a worthy trade off for
Yeah.
the gain in like
Yeah.
presence?
The trade off is my business and my ability to make a living off art has improved. So, I mean, it's like, I mean, you could take that argument to the nth degree where it's like, well, if I didn't have to eat meals, I'd be a better artist because I'd have more time to, I mean, it's like
Yeah.
you can always say, well, if I could get rid of this and do more art, I'd be a better artist. I don't see like, I didn't sacrifice anything. This is all for a reason and it's helping. So, I mean, I would love to get to a position where my art is making me a very comfortable living so I can hire more and more to handle shit, and I can just work on the art I want to do. I mean, this is the bridge to getting there. Was first step was like taking it all on myself and learning and trying and buying cameras and trying to edit things in app, out of app, and then it got to a point where it's like, I remember talking to Mattteo and Eric. I was like, guys, I think we're at a point where we should hire someone. And that's when I was reaching out to you at first, Jamie. I was like, let's get someone to put our podcast together because we had done it. I mean, I had been doing podcasts. I don't know, Jamie, did you listen to my audio podcast way back in the day?
That was how I found you, because the first time I messaged you, and this should be like a good message for people trying to break into the space that I'm working in right now. But like the first time I messaged you was like 2 years or 3 years before we started working together. So I was no spamming, although I say I was spamming, but I messaged John, and it must have been like 2019.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
So that was, I think I'd maybe listened to all the like the Spotify episodes, the audio only episodes at that point when I first reached out to you. So that was how I found you.
Yeah, so I put in all that time like learning this podcasting thing, and working with like Alan taught me about the equipment I need, good audio and all that. And that was a different world for podcasting. That was audio only. And then COVID changed everything and we all started buying cameras and USB mics. So yeah, I mean, I think these are necessary skills to learn. And the other thing I want to ask you, Jamie, is for me, I think things started to click really well with my viewers when I understood my brand.
Yeah.
Like what is it? It's not just, hey, I'm an artist, here's my art. It was bigger than that. It was like, oh, what is Inkpulp? What does it mean? Oh, it's craft, keep craft alive. And everything started having a color scheme to it and a logo and all those, understanding that. And then that helps me understand how to make better reels and commercials. Cause like when Jim and Mattteo and I hop on camera, we're just ourselves, but we know from conventions, people love like being around that energy of us just, having fun and being dum-dums.
I would say the one thing that you said there, that like that about people just love being around that energy. The one thing I would say to remember in all of this is like, I'm talking about algorithms and video formats and all that stuff. And that's cool. And like, you should play that game if you want to grow, but you should remember like at the core of that, people just want to know you guys. You know what I mean? People want to feel a relation, because comics is such an intimate medium. Like when you love a comic, like you love that book, do you know what I mean? And it means something to you, and it can be a lot more impactful than other mediums. So people tend to tie like a relationship to you guys as artists or writers or whoever it may be. So being aware that people just do want to feel like they know you, and like they can, like for most people, like a lot of the comments that we get on the podcast, Shawn, is like, oh, I stuck this on well drawn and I felt like I was just hanging with you guys, and that's what people want. So even if it is just like, Mattteo, what you're talking about like the kind of stress of having to record stuff, like it doesn't have to be like does this shot look nice, and does this look like all this planning and effort, like it can just be, here's me, I'm drawing, and then doing like a voiceover of going, oh, I was drawing this and then I thought about this and then I thought maybe I should try this. And just like that personal connection to people, that's I think is the biggest thing.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of videos like that. That's a good point, Jamie. I've seen
Yeah,
videos.
absolutely.
Where
It's probably my brain right now, my mindset. I still only see it as a time consuming thing right now. I'm
It
only
is.
seeing that part of it, and I admit it's my limit now because I'm not in that mindset yet. You know, that probably if I decided one day to just start and do it, probably after, I don't know, 10 videos, and after seeing it and actualized on my social media, I'll start to understanding and see the value, and then from then on it becomes everything becomes easier, and I can give a reason why I'm doing it, and it's different. But right now my mind goes immediately, oh fuck, it's less time on my end. The same, basically the same instance that you were making with eating. You can easily see that even eating, if you decide not to eat, you can gain more time. But
and I'm sure Mattteo,
my brain is still there.
I'm sure you have memories of having dinner in one hand while you're drawing with the other. Like we've all been there back in the day.
Never done that, but I remember because I still do it now. To eat super fast, like grabbing stuff from the fridge and eat, just standing and then going back to drawing, because
I've had a sandwich
especially
in this hand while I'm like inking, like just so I didn't have to lose the time to dinner.
If you get a Shawn Crystal page with crumbs on it, it's worth way more, dude. It's worth so much more.
Dude, there's a lot of you'll see a lot of, like, especially artists in the 70s and 80s, you'll see pages with like coffee stains on them.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Well, hopefully the people that buy my original art, they don't have the blue light.
Shawn?
They'll see a lot of fingerprints in there. Blue fingerprints.
I was going to say Shawn's drawn you on dinner, but Matteo's drawn you on orgies. That's the difference. Blue light just splat.
Some of Matteo's splatters you can't see without a blue light.
Exactly. There's a whole other picture underneath it. So, Jamie, I wanted to ask you your opinion about something. We talked about this. You probably haven't edited that episode yet, so you haven't heard about this idea yet. But I was thinking, in order to have more ideas and inspirations and whatnot about the episodes, I was thinking, why don't we basically create, and maybe you have better ways, better ideas about it, but how about we create like an Inkpulp email account where people can write, and they can either propose new subjects or propose guests, give suggestions, whatever they want to do.
Let me ask this. Okay, we're at an hour. Do you want to just, because this conversation is leading into exactly what I want to have that meeting about, and I have a lot of questions. Do you want to stop here and then just keep, instead of you and I doing another podcast, you just keep this conversation going so it'll be 2 parts? Do you want to do that?
Oh, okay. Oh, because that meeting is going to be another episode?
No. I'm just saying you're starting to ask questions that could be an entire episode, like if we dive into it. So instead of like stopping and then you and I recording an episode now of just us two, we just keep going, but with Jamie, and it'll be like part 1 and part 2 of the Jamie episode.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Do you have time for it, Jamie?
Yeah, I'm down for that. Let's do it.
Okay.
All right, cool.
So guys, stay tuned. See you next week.
Go ahead, Mattteo. Give us...
Inkpulp podcast.